Good evening. I call this meeting to order. Lincoln County Board of Education meeting in regular session. Today is Tuesday, October 28th, 7 p.m. at Midway Elementary in Alum Creek. This is a meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the county school system's business. There's a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda item, public comments. This meeting is being live streamed and a video copy of the meeting will be on the board's website within 5 working days. This time I'll ask Assistant Superintendent Mr. Davis if he'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. For the roll call, we have Board Member Cartwright, Board Member Burns,
Yes.
myself in attendance, and on the phone, we have Board Member Mosteller and Board Member McComas. That takes us to agenda item 3, public comment. I'm assuming that we had no one sign in for public comment. And then that'll take us to agenda item 4, and I'll turn it over to our superintendent and let him introduce our LSIC.
Well, this is our second LSIC presentation of the year. This time it is Ms. Sue McComas, principal here at Midway Elementary, and she's going to go through the template that we have here and tell us a little bit about her school and the successes they've had. So, Ms. McComas.
Good evening.
Okay, I took a copy for everybody to follow through. The first thing I have on there is I have my current enrollment, the class size for each grade level on the left. And if you add all those up, my current enrollment is 210. That's down from 233. That's what I had last year. The drop is mainly due to the fact that I had 47 fifth graders last year that left, and I didn't have as many pre-K kids coming in, so that was a big punch of my kids. And then also I had the creation of the local Christian Academy that opened this year, and I lost about 5 to 6 students to that. So, about 23 kids in total with all of that. But the main was, I had so many fifth graders last year, that was a large group. Then I've got the narrative of the strategies that we still use to improve test scores. We use iReady data, we use Reflex, that's a math program that works with fluency facts. We use Title I support, and I have an interventionist and a half this year that I didn't have last year. I paid for my halftime interventionist with some ATS money that I had left over. I had enough to fund that. And then there was some Title I money for another full-time interventionist. We use benchmarks, we use the Iowa Bank from the General Summit Assessment, and we use the SAT process extensively to identify where kids are weak, and we use the interventionists to target those concepts to give them more one-on-one instruction. We do try to keep them out of special ed as much as possible with the interventions, but sometimes kids need more a smaller setting in order to be successful. Down at the bottom, I've got my to date at-risk percentage is at 1% identified. So then my special ed is 30%, that's 63 out of 210. 13%, and my math went up 9%. And I would think the reason for that is the intervention that I implemented, plus I implemented a co-teach model in my math class and the ELA, where the special ed teacher actually went up to the general ed and helped provide some instruction. So the instruction was more diversified. They got it from 2 different people. I made sure that that in ELA they followed the actual curriculum more strictly with the wonders reading lists that we were using. And then we utilized Sarah Dunlap a lot to come in and work on writing strategies with the students. And I was just really pleased with the results. I was just shooting for 2%, and when I got 9 and 13%, I was really happy with that. So this year, more what I'm looking for is I'm trying to increase overall math proficiency in grades 3 through 5. And we're using a little bit of extra time in the math classes, 15 minutes, to get some intervention. And then both of my interventionists that I have, my 1.5, they have math certifications, so they know what they're doing. And so far they're doing a great job with that. And then from my overall GSA, in the spring, my overall school proficiency was 48%. That was up from 43% last year. And then overall, my math was 43, which was up from 39. And we have celebrations for the kids every year. I have the PIVAS program, and that's still in place. And the kids have to meet criteria in order to qualify. We just had our first grade period reward this past Friday. Students can't miss more than 4 days of school during the grading period. They can't have more than 5 tardies. They cannot have any discipline referrals. And they have to follow the responsible student program in their classroom, and they get points, and they have to earn 90% of those points in grading period. And then it starts all over every time.
Do every time meeting every grading period?
Every grading period. We do that every grading period. We do student of the month. We have, it's a program that my counselor does, Caught Doing Good. And there's a bulletin board up in the hallway, and the kids love to see their names up there for Caught Doing Good. So they're like, look, I'm on here. So then they do a drawing every so often, and they get some little prize that the counselor keeps in her office, and they really like that. I've got a new counselor this year, Miss Kaylee Christian, and she's kind of picked up on some of the things that we've done in the past and kind of tweaked it and made it her own thing, but she's doing a great job, and the kids have really been receptive to her, and she's carrying that on. The bulletin board was her idea, actually. Then I've got a chart down on the bottom. You know, math people, we love our charts, so I have to give you a chart. And I've got, this would have been in color, but my printer just wasn't cooperating with me today. But Midway is the left, Lincoln County is the middle, and then the state is the right. And then I wrote the numbers in so you can compare. My 5th grade, Midway was 30 compared to the whole county, which was 31, and the state was 37. My 4th grade had 68% proficiency, and the county had 35, and the state was 50. And then my 3rd grade, 41, 34, and 52, and that was for my math. And then I've got the ELA down on the bottom. My 4th grade last year is my 5th grade this year. They're just a great group. I mean, I know those numbers look good, but they're just a great group of kids. You get those occasionally, and they want to do well, and they have good parent involvement, and they're really eager to learn. So
About how many kids are in that group?
29 right
29.
now. And then I've got my leadership team listed there. We meet every Monday of each month, the first Monday of the month, every month. And my counselor's included in that, and I have special ed, and then I have some lower grade level teachers, and then we conduct our PLCs. The lower grades meet every Tuesday morning, and the upper grades meet on Wednesday mornings. And my new LSIC chair is Connie Browse, and she's going to be here tonight until the meeting got moved. So she could be here at 6, but not at 7, and I told her not
Sue, what time do your PLCs meet? Yeah, I know it says morning, but what
At
time?
7.
7?
We meet from 7 to 7:30
Okay.
on those. And then I've got my members of the LSIC listed there for you, and then we have some student safety practices that are just, uniform basically. And the safety is part of our PEPAS program because we have STAIN, and the S in that stands for safety. And so we enforce that. Another thing that we're working on a lot this year, and we've had this at the last principal meeting, is the attendance to improve chronic absenteeism for students. My current chronic absentee rate is 18%, and that means I have that many students that right now their attendance is less than 90%. So I have some programs in place to help do that. I have my attendance team established. We're going with the slogan that was created by the county, 10 or less for Mustang success, meaning if, to not be chronically absent, try to miss less than 10 days of school. And my PEPAS program goes along with that as well. And it's hard to get parents to understand it because they think if they have a doctor's appointment and it's an excuse absence, it doesn't count, but they're still absent. So that's why with the PEPAS program, that they can't miss more than 4 days, because 4 days of grading period is only 16 days, which is still a lot, but it still keeps them under the chronic absentee number. If I would allow them 5 absent days, that's 20, which is over, because 18 is where you have to stay to keep the percentage where the students aren't chronically absent. So we do a school-wide thing, and then we do individual classroom things every time a teacher has all of their students present. They get a letter outside their door, and then once they spell the word perfect, then they get 5 minutes of extra recess or some ice cream or whatever, something that we have here that we can work in on a Friday afternoon to award them because they spelled perfect. And that's a big thing, because they'll walk up to me like, we spelled perfect today. And, and they like it because the classes that are there every time. And now sometimes I have to say, now don't get on the people that miss a lot, because they'll be like, you caused us not to get our letter today. And, no, don't do that. But it does seem to work, and we do home visits, and we make person-to-person calls every day when kids aren't here. And so last year, my overall attendance rate did end up being around 94%. So I'm trying to get it up to 95, and I want the chronic absentee rate down, so that's one of the things I'm focusing on too.
Who does home visits with you when you go?
Well, I have Beth Clay, who's my communities and schools person, and then Angela Teetsworth, who is my social worker here the days that she's here, and then Miss Christian goes too.
Well,
So
good.
today, Beth and, I was super busy today, it was crazy, but Beth and Angela actually went on one today. So sometimes I don't go, but they'll go 2 at a time, and,
Yeah.
but it's usually 1 or 2 of that combination of us.
Does that seem to be real helpful for you all to go out
Well,
and visit with the parents?
Sometimes, but like today, they go and you can't get anybody
To answer the door.
But by the time, before they even get back, that person has called the school. It's like, why don't you hear what you all want? So at least it gets them to call us back
Yeah.
whenever they know that the school's been there. Just to, especially the ones, we do the home visit when we've not seen them for a little bit. And, we were like, what's going on?
Do you have people who make phone calls in between when there's a problem that will make a home phone call and talk to about what's going on?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, they call every day regardless. Like, the minute they're absent, they get a call.
Okay,
But then if they go several days and they won't answer the phone or whatever, then we'll send somebody out to make a visit.
thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all have any other questions?
Everything looks good. Congratulations.
Thank
You guys
you.
are doing a good job. Numbers are right direction. Did I read that right? 9 and 13% improvement in those two?
Yes.
That's impressive.
In the 5th grade,
Yeah.
that was the one, but, and then I put the overall in there, which was
Right.
still an improvement. But, I can
Do they seem to
It
be
shows.
competitive in wanting to improve each grade level?
They do.
To that 13%?
Yeah, they do.
That's good.
They do. And my fifth grade group, they're really competitive, so if I go and say, this is wrong, then they're like, no, that's not. So, but they're great, which I think all the kids are great. And I always say this when I'm here, and I heard it today because the county, they came and did our walkthrough today, and, they told me what a good staff I have. I know that, like, they make my job way easier than it could be, because when I wanna do something, they just do it, they don't question, they don't give me pushback, they just ask questions to say, we wanna do this the way you want us to do it, the best way we can, and they're just a great bunch of people to work with, so I'm really lucky to have the staff that I do here.
Hope you get to hang on to them.
Me too.
Thank you.
I like to hang on to my people.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
That takes us to agenda item 5, which is instruction and leadership. And it looks like we have Ms. Shortridge to talk about curriculum resources.
You have a,
Yeah, you have a handout. I was gonna do PowerPoint, but for sake of time and internet, I went with the PowerPoint. I'm very, nice today, the internet hasn't. So unfortunately, we do have 2 schools that I know Mr. Barnett and Mr. Davis have shared were identified as CSI schools. But with that comes some positives, there comes some support from the State Department. And I wanted to just kind of explain just a snapshot of kind of why they were chosen, and then kind of what we're doing, what we already have in place and what we're refining, and then what we've learned from the department that they really think should be our focus at those 2 locations. So Guyan Valley was identified first in the second criteria. They use the balanced scorecard that can be found on Zoom, or I can come back at another time and talk a little deeper if you wanted me to in that. But basically, they were identified in the second round of the criteria, so they would require a little bit more support, and their identification was, they had several red areas as far as growth or performance. And then Duval was actually identified in a new criteria that they developed. It's a 4th criteria, and I've sent a lot of emails trying to understand the data and how they decided these things. And so basically what I can understand is that they didn't have enough Title I schools that performed at the 10%, the bottom of the totem pole. So they kind of created this 4th criteria, and that's what caught Duval. And then most of our schools were identified as an ATS, on an ATS list, which at first was, you know, I was shocked, but then what I later found out was it was based on the subgroup of special ed, and even though we've made growth, we may not have met an annual target in one area. So it's not as bad as you may originally think. And so with that comes hopefully some support, and we can only, you know, get better. So they're basically just watching that subgroup, and they're wanting to see that they continue to grow over this 3-year time span. It sounds like it's a little bit more fluid than it has been in the past, so we can come off that rather quickly if, you know, if we show progress. And so with that, the current focus, this is kind of what the state, we went to one of the trainings, Mr. Barnett, myself, Mr. Glancy, and then the 2 schools that I mentioned. And so what the first kind of focus that they really hit home about was leadership teams. You know, they looked at highly effective schools, and that's one of the criteria. And so just making sure they revamp their leadership, that it's a correctly functioning leadership team, and that they're looking at their data. Making sure there's a clear and focused mission and vision, and we actually met as a curriculum team and kind of revamped ours, so you'll be seeing that soon. We wanted to definitely have that big community piece in it. We created an attendance slogan, and one of the principals we had Miss 10 or less, you will find success, and then one of the principals said, what if we own it a little bit more as a school and we put our mascot in? So for the county, that's the overall slogan, and then for the schools, they have kind of coined with their mascots. So Miss Timberless, Mustangs will find success. And so with that, we're going to start doing some things like we've talked about, hype videos where we challenge other middle schools in the county and we put it on social media, brochures at any kind of family night talking about the data of attendance and how it matters, but tying it to a number so parents understand the 10 days or less versus like chronically absent and that kind of language. Attendance teams, so we are revamping, like Ms. McComas already has a great PBIS plan in place and attendance team in place, but making sure that's happening everywhere, and then as a county, making sure we're more involved on these attendance teams. And then continuing to refine our intervention, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second, and supporting them specifically in ELA and math. And so with that comes the next slide, which would be science of numeracy. You've heard me talk a lot about High School 3035, there's second graders and things. And so with that, we have done a lot of work, and I'm very excited of what I feel like we're going to see in math this year. We've already seen the kind of benefits of all the hard work that the aides and teachers and principals have done, but we are now bumping that up in math as well. And so Mr. Sansom's done some wonderful hands-on PD. We even just trained the high school teachers last week, and I got a text message from Mr. Roy the next day and said, just walked into rooms, saw your activities already in use. Like, that's good stuff. Math groups like Ms. McComas talked about in the elementary especially, where we're hitting our intervention. You've got to read before you can do math, obviously, but making sure we're still doing that math intervention, so that's built more into the classroom time. So the last 20 minutes, it's groups. We're trying to support teachers, giving them the tools for that, manipulatives. We just did another order for math classrooms today on manipulatives based on our recent trainings. We got a lot of teachers saying, hey, I would love to have this for my room. And so we got with Mr. Glancy and did an order. Also making sure they're using the educator guides that's given to us from the State Department. And that is a wonderful resource. It has all the standards, it has the habits of mind, and it has examples of what good teaching looks like. And they all receive those at our training, and we go back to those every time we do a training. They bring those and we go back to those. I had a fairly new teacher say, this is kind of like my survival guide for math this year. We're doing what's called Book Fours, and we just started it, and basically it is not a walkthrough, it is more of support. And what we've realized is a lot of intervention times happen in a school in the morning, because that's what research says is best, but that is the busiest time a lot of times in the principal's office. And so what we're trying to do to support principals is we're going into the intervention classrooms and asking the teachers, hey, do you have everything you need? Do you have any questions? How's it going? And we problem solved several things just this week doing one at Hamlin that way, and seemed like the teachers really liked the feedback. So just getting in that intervention class, and also during that math time, we saw some great activities in kindergarten classroom that last 20 minutes where kids, and the teacher said, I will never teach math another way after I've done what we've kind of done. So it was good stuff. And then test authoring, we use the test authoring for numeracy, and you'll see that again for literacy, but that is, I'll show you an example here in a second, but that's one of the things we've dropped into those math folders that I've talked about. And it is old test items or test item banks that are maybe created by teachers or by the state, and it looks just like the GSA for grades 3 through 8. This is just a screenshot. So these are the folders that Mr. Sansom and I have created for teachers for math, and then we also shared this with our ECATs and our special education aides, our interventionists, anyone that's requested access. And there's lots and lots of resources. Because if you look at the next slide, it's just a sample of all the things that are in this math folder, okay? So what you see first is a folder that says WVGSA bell ringers. This is an example of a 3rd grade folder. There's over 60 documents, not including the bell ringers. And that is just scripted lessons that reteach or scaffold math grade level standards. And so the bell ringers, Mr. Sansom worked very hard on. These are taken from that test authoring site, and they are broken down by domain first and then by standard. And there's over 180 items in these folders, and it is for 3rd grade through 8th grade, and it mimics the test. So this is an example of something that teachers could use as a bell ringer. They could use it as a reteach, what we call task cards, where maybe they just do that one task, error analysis, lots and lots of things you can do with this. And then I gave you a sample of what it looks like. It's also scripted. The answer is for the teachers, so you don't really need strong background per se to really do these, but it's a great resource. Another example is a page that looks like this. It's the next one. It says math fluency practice. And what we found is, there's skill gaps based on maybe attendance, trauma, you never know what. And there's a new iReady has Fluency Flight, which is for the younger kids. It's 8 minutes a day. And then we've also dropped in, there's at least 60 of these pages in that folder. And it is fluency practice that starts, it starts kind of basic, and then it builds throughout the year of basic math facts that students should have by the end of that grading period.
And they do this every morning?
Depends on the teacher and the
Okay.
school. Yeah.
How many times a week do you all recommend to the teachers to do this?
So
Just when they feel that they need to do it?
a good practice that we've seen is we have several teachers, and their data kind of shows that it's been a good practice. We have several teachers that are doing it the last 20 minutes in stations. And so they have an ECAT at a fluency station. The teacher's doing a reteach lesson at their station, and then the 3rd station is iReady. They're doing that fluency flight, and then they actually have fluency little booklets that they've made, so that they're learning their basic math facts like multiplication tables and things. Some of this is, we went away from in the standards per se, but we also know that kids need it as a foundation. So we're trying to support teachers in both, and what they say. This is what they need help on, this is what we're trying to kind of support them with. This is an example of a reteach lesson. So sometimes teachers may be doing this, or it could be our ECATs. They've been trained in this as well. It's a much larger document, but it's scripted. It tells them exactly how long it takes. It tells them exactly what materials they need, and it is based on whatever grade level standard they are currently working on in math. And then when we get to science of literacy, you've heard me probably speak more about that than math, and so I just wanted to touch on what we're refining, where we're headed as far as literacy goes, because that's a continual work in progress. But we are continuing our Ashlock and corrective reading PD. Jennifer Ashlock was actually just in town and did some literacy walkthroughs with Dion and Sarah. We're currently still refining WIN groups, so we're in what you would call a refinement stage, where we're just bettering our practice. I feel like everyone's talking the same language now, everyone has a general understanding, but we're working on things now like recycling the question back in their answer when teachers ask questions to students throughout the day, because that improves literacy. We have priority and modified plans that are wonders. That's our reading curriculum. So priority plans would be, I gave you a sample in here, but it's basically, you have a teacher manual. You never usually can hit everything in the day. And so with Miss Ashlock and with Dion and Sarah, we kind of sat down and we pulled out what really we feel like is important for kids to know. And the same for special ed students, because they need exposed to grade level text. And again, we're on that watch list for subgroups, so that is something that we've added as well. So they actually have modified plans for K-5.
Do you pull the special ed children into that time to work with the, like, let's say, the fourth grade, or whatever grade? Do they come in for a specified time each day?
Yeah, so every student in the building, K-8, has intervention.
Okay, but they come with, not by themselves in their classroom, but with another class, in another classroom also.
Intervention is skill-based
Uh-huh.
until you hit about middle school, and then it becomes a little bit more standards-based, so they're mixed grades.
Okay,
And then special ed is also pulled. Whatever is going on in the GE environment, that's when they're pulled.
okay.
Yeah. So we're doing the look force for literacy. It's the same thing that I just talked about. And then something that we just, we haven't even, I don't know that we've shared it out yet, if Deanna shared it yesterday or not, but there's now a tutorial bank of videos of all lessons. So if we get a sub, if we get a new teacher, it is another step of support of they can, or if you have someone that's maybe struggling, they can go back and watch the routines. It's just good research-based instructional strategies in their videos. So it's a tutorial bank that they log into, and we typed up instructions on how that they'll go and see all of that.
Have they used it much this year?
We haven't sent it, I don't know that we've sent it out. It may have went out yesterday. Do you know if it went out? No. This is just brand new what we're doing. And then writing folders, that's on our next steps as well. Ms. Dunlap is an excellent coach for literacy and especially writing. And so we're working on, like you saw the math folders, we're now working on that for writing, because now that kids are starting to read, that's what teachers are saying now. I need support with writing. And so we're working on those folders for support as far as that goes. Exemplars, 4 square models, all of examples, some writing lessons and that kind of thing. Again, there's test authoring, and then the state, through the GSA, there's also, it's called Write On with Candy, which is almost like an AI tool that's through the portal of how they take their test. And it mimics the writing assessment, so teachers can use that, give the students a prompt, and it actually gives the students feedback, much like what the scorer at the state level would say.
So they're really practicing that writing prompt and their writing that goes along with what they're going to meet when they take the state test.
Yes, and Ms. Dunlap's worked a lot with teachers on that as well, and then I was just at Guy met with all of their teachers on test authoring and Candy, and we're just continuing to make sure they're aware that's there for them to use and how they know how to use it. And then I just gave you some samples, so it kind of makes more sense of what you hear me talk about all the time. This is a screenshot of what we call phonics for reading, and that is the intervention that K through 5 students get in their what we call win time or intervention time. So this would not be the actual ELA curriculum. This is just an intervention, a research-based intervention. It's actually now produced through iReady, so it links to iReady, but it is it's a good tool, a research-based tool for intervention. Now, not every student maybe shows success with that, so I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all. There's, Wilson's and lots of other strategies, but for the most part, we've seen success for this. So students go through phonics for reading and SIPs, and then they're out of actually the program. They're now reading to learn instead of learning to read, and so we're supporting teachers with comprehension groups. So we've purchased Newsella, which is a supplement. There's lots of resources on that, as well as iReady has a ton of teacher toolbox comprehension resources, or just going to the library and checking out a novel on their level and making sure the teachers are questioning the students and doing the right thing. But this is what we've seen a lot of success with, and I just wanted to make sure that we're kind of all talking the same talk. And everybody's been trained in it as well, anyone that's especially K-3. And then I gave you an example of what the special ed intervention looks like. And again, again, this is not per se just for special ed. We have SAC kids mixed in there, anyone that's maybe showing some signs of dyslexia. And then we're assessing them, so we assess corrective reading. It's a little longer before we rescreen unless we see any kind of warning signs. But with phonics, the phonics for reading, there's phonics survey we do very frequently. It's a semester, and then we see if kids are making progress and reassess, is this the right fit or right program? But what we've seen is a lot of success. And I'll give a pat on the back to Ms. McComas and her staff. They were 15% proficient last year, that 4th grade group she's talking about. Their 4th grade special ed subgroup, 15% of them are reading on grade level, thanks to her work, Mr. Berry's work, and all of them. So
This year, they're
he is a
50%.
great model for this program. I've actually asked him, hey, can we send some teachers to come observe? Because he does a phenomenal job, and he saw the fruits of his labor this year with the test results. But this is a sample, it's scripted, and this is more research-based for students with learning disabilities, and what the difference is that it exposes the students to the same words, what research says, over and over again, where in phonics it's more of like decoding and learning the skill, and this is more of rerouting the brain. So there's lots and lots of research behind it, and I could go on forever because that's my thing, but it's a good program. And then the only other thing I kind of put in here is this would be, when we talk about Ashlock, it's a sample of what like a routine looks like that's based on Wonder's curriculum, because Ashlock's just strategies. And so what this is an example of practice sets that all the teachers have been trained on. And that's probably the most beneficial thing that we tell teachers: if you're gonna like do something, do this. And it exposes them, it preloads the lesson for the day, or if they're doing it at the end of the class, it's preloading the lesson for the next day. So, and all students are experiencing these practice sets. We've included special ed students too. They're not pulled until after they go through the practice sets. And it's just a good instructional routine based on the Wonders curriculum. I know that's a lot of information, but we're trying to support any way we can. Do you all have any questions or?
Do you think the kids really enjoy this, moving and doing different things in different groups? Are they really moving along on that independently?
I think it's all about the teacher and the aide, and I think that, we were talking about that actually today in our debriefing from our walkthrough. Mrs. McComas' staff makes everything exciting and engaging, and therefore the kids are. So I think it's not about the curriculum. I really think it's
about the
teachers.
Interaction, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And the aides too. I mean, there are some aides that are just there rocking it.
Yeah,
And it's good. It's like exciting to see. We've seen some really exciting things the last week or two where we've been out in schools. I mean, it's just lots and lots of good things.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of great things. Just on this folders, so every teacher has access to this on their computer, I'm assuming, their desktop or laptop or whatever it is?
Yes.
So they could essentially pull lesson plans straight from this? Okay.
Yeah, it's through OneDrive, because what we found is it's already is a little complicated to, maneuver, especially if you're new, you don't have a lot of time, or if you're an aide, you don't maybe even have access. Everybody has access to their email. And what Mr. Hoover, we talked, and I don't know if those have been pushed out yet or not, but every ECAD is eventually going to have a device as well. So it makes it even easier, but yeah.
I just want
Click, print.
Yeah.
I just want to give a big shout out to Ms. Shortridge and her team, because they've put together a product here for our teachers and our support staff to allow them to teach and have more time to do so. That they're not. This is at their fingertips, and the success has been proven. with our students, with the improvement that they've shown. So just a big kudos to Ms. Shortridge and her team.
Well, I contributed to principals and teachers and aides. I mean, they've all bought in, and we're not done yet.
Yeah,
So,
well, good.
Thank you.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you. Good stuff, good stuff. That takes us to agenda item 6, approval of the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Burns,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Cartwright. Mrs. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Cartwright,
Aye.
Ms. McComas,
Aye.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson, yay. That passes 5-0.
That's the lightning.
Takes us to agenda item 7, consent. Looks like we've got items A through E. Just a short consent section this time.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. McComas. Mrs. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Cartwright,
Aye.
Ms. McComas,
Yes.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson, yay. That carries 5-0. Next is agenda item 8, policies. These are going on for 30-day review.
Do we have a copy of these policies?
They're on the left side.
Yeah, they're on.
On this side?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the ones that were emailed out earlier in the week, same ones.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Mosteller. Mrs. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Cartwright,
Aye.
Ms. McComas,
Yes.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson, yay. That carries 5-0. Takes us to agenda item 9.
I'll make a motion on paying our bills.
All right, motion by Mrs. Burns.
it.
Second by Ms. McComas. Y'all moving along tonight. Mrs. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Cartwright,
Aye.
Ms. McComas,
Yeah.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson is yay. That carries 5-0. Takes us to agenda item 10, personnel. Direct your attention to the blue sheet in the back. Looks like we've got items A through H.
Give us a minute to look through those.
Yeah, take you a second or two to browse.
I'll make a motion to approve personnel.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright,
Second.
second by Mrs. Burns. Mrs. Burns,
Aye.
hey. Cartwright,
Aye.
Ms. McComas,
Yes.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson, yay. That carries 5-0. Takes us to agenda item 11, superintendent updates.
Updates was part of what Ms. Shortridge talked about tonight. We were just going to update you on the status of what we were doing with these folders and the access that teachers and the ECATs have to them. We gave some personnel tests this week, and hopefully we'll have some more aides, bus drivers, cooks on the agenda for next week. We've been running a little bit short on aides of a morning sometimes, and we have to get creative as to how we handle that. But we've been able to cover everything. But we'd like to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. It's coming the cold and flu season, and people are going to start to miss. So we're trying to get some more people tested and background checks brought in and everything of that nature, get them hired. Update on the Duval building. Actually, Robin and Dr. Burns and I, we drove through there on the way up this evening, and they've made tremendous amount of progress. They've been blessed with good weather, and so they've got a lot of it under roof now, and can be able to actually get in there and get some work done, even in inclement weather. There's still things they can do now. So that's going along really well. Other than that, I think that's about it. Right now, we're looking at our school mapping. We have a meeting scheduled with them on December 9th. We're meeting with a mapping company. As required by code now, we have to go in and have everything digitally mapped. So we're meeting with Mr. Cremines, Mr. Davis, myself, and Austin are going to meet with mapping company December 9th and get the ball rolling on that so we can have a digital map of every building that'll be online for first
anybody else
responders and
Like if a parent wants to get on, like if I have a child going to go to.
it'll be for first responders.
Digital mapping
Okay,
is
first
for
responders only.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not for the public.
Not the public, just first responders.
Correct.
Okay.
That's,
Where are we at with the safe school?
That's all right. I think I can make it last. So, Ms. McComas, if it goes dead on you, we'll call you back on another phone.
Where are we at
Okay,
with
sounds good.
the safe school entrance at the high school? What's the,
We're waiting on another contractor to call back. The money's still there. We still have time to use it. So we're waiting on another contractor. The big hang-up right now is the window through the wall.
Right.
Because it's a load-bearing wall. So we're waiting on contractors that can actually come in and install a lintel in there and make it so that it'll support the weight. But that ought to be forthcoming real soon. Mr. Cremines talked to them again. Today's Tuesday. Talked to them Friday, and they're supposed to be coming out. They think it won't be a big deal. This R&R, the same people who built the entrance.
Okay.
They're looking at putting the window in.
Good.
So it should be up and coming real soon.
Okay.
That's all I have.
sounds great, thank you. That takes us to agenda item 12, board member comments. I'd just like to thank Ms. McComas for the hospitality of hosting us here at her school this evening. The results that you went over, I believe you're doing a great job, and so far, many of the scores that I see in the county, it looks like there's growth and great success in all areas. Ms. Shortridge, I appreciate these folders. That's what, this year, or did that just happen? Yeah, last year, the end of last year, mid? And a lot of great things. That's wonderful stuff. And you're talking about making videos. That's another avenue for somebody to have. So I think if we keep giving them resources, eventually something will tickle someone's fancy, and they'll be able to have great results. So I appreciate it.
I'll just echo that. I appreciate the hospitality tonight, and everything's going in the right direction, and we've got a lot of the muscle here represented tonight. Ms. McComas and Ms. Shortridge, so hard work pays off.
I like that you all do things with the kids. They're as important to carry the message to each other, their parents, and even to their own teachers when they go back into the classroom. And I think that makes a difference when children are interested. Well, it is the difference. And I thank you, all of you over here in the staff.
All right, if nobody else has any more comments, that takes us to agenda item 13, which is adjourned until Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Guy Valley Middle School in Branchland.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright,
I'll second.
I'll second it.
second by Ms. McComas. Mrs. Burns,
Yes.
Mr. Cartwright,
Yay.
Ms. McComas,
Yes.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
Mr. Wilson. Passes 5-0, and the time is 7:50.